which Murdoch University has with India. Can you just tell us elaborately what are the ties, how it is?
Well, most of our ties have begun with research, particularly in agriculture, infectious diseases, some in education and some in engineering and IT. So we're now making those research activities broaden. So as long as we've got partnerships with universities around research, we then look at broadening those partnerships to include the potential of joint degree programs, joint PhD programs, and also postgraduate programs. But our first focus is on research, okay? Not recruiting Indian students to Australia.
In research, I believe you have mostly, as you were telling, biotechnology, nanotechnology. Can you just elaborate on it? What kind of research work is done in Murdoch University that Indian students who come in largely?
Well, the nanotechnology is looking at bone regrowth and facial reconstruction, and the experimental work is happening here on sheep. So we're looking at generating new bone growth for facial reconstructions following road trauma and other accidents. The biotechnology is particularly related to algae production, growing algae to produce energy. So that partnership is looking at how flourishing algae fields can be used to produce energy in a safe and sustainable manner with no pollution and no bad emissions.
And I just wanted to know, why do you think Indian students should opt to study in Australia? Why do you think more Indian students are coming in Australia? Even in speech, we're saying that this will be reversed. Government wants to reverse this. More Australian students also would love to come. So I just wanted to
look. We've had a long history of Indian students coming to the eastern states of Australia, Melbourne and Sydney, the two capital cities. We'd like to encourage them to come to Murdoch University in Perth, which is the Indian Ocean capital of Australia, the only major city on the west coast facing the Indian Ocean. Look, Australia is a very safe, a very environmentally conscious society, beautiful clear blue skies, and with the Australian dollar plummeting, it's much cheaper to come and study in Australia. So lots of good reasons, but high quality education, safe environment, welcoming people, and great universities.
Currently, what is the strength of Indian students in Australia? I mean, at least in Murdoch University and as a whole?
Most of the Indian students at Murdoch study engineering and IT, as predicted. We'd like to diversify that, continue engineering and IT, but also diversify into food new energy studies, and the creative arts, Bollywood, for example.
So what kind of new innovations? You said like new courses. You said on film studies you're talking about JNU.
Yeah, no, we've had strength in film studies, cinematography for a long time. We research that area, and so do our potential partners here in India. So we're looking at collaborative partners, maybe comparing Bollywood and Australian film from a cultural perspective, and why Bollywood's emerged in one way and local Australian film productions have moved in another way. So it's that joint collaboration, better understanding across countries.
Okay. And how do you see the 5th edition of World Education Summit? Because it has a diversified audience. We have the ICT people from the industry coming in, education sector, so you have the teachers and everybody coming in, people from experts like you coming in out of the country. How do you see this platform?
Well, I think it recognises the international nature of education, the fact that education is a global industry. It doesn't matter if it's early childhood education or secondary education or technical and vocational education or university education. It's a global enterprise, and we need to learn. We can learn a lot from India around engineering, around IT, cultural studies and valuing culture as a part of history, wonderful tradition in languages within this country. So it's a global village, and Murdoch is a global university, and we want to be positioned. So that's part of my reason why I've come to the Education Summit, but also our Minister for Education is joining the Vice-Chancellors from all Australian universities in Delhi on Sunday, and he'll be here for 3 days. So that was my main motivation for coming, but then I thought I could learn more about education across the spectrum in India, hence I'm here at the World Education Summit.
Okay. And just wanted to know one more thing, like if you could tell me like how, what is the, by 2020 or years down the lane, how would the Murdoch University would be in, like how many Indian students it would have, and what kind of courses it would have, like
okay.
How would it be?
Well, Murdoch University, as I said, is a global university and it wants to grow its global partnerships. So we want to have more international students at Murdoch, but we want our students to also spend more time overseas. So an intensive 10 weeks or a short course of 2 weeks is what we want to support our students to do, and that's the government's new Colombo plan, is supporting Australian students to come into the South Asia and Asia region. So we hope that we'll have many more international onshore students. We've got transnational students. Murdoch's got 5,500 students in Singapore. Maybe one day we might have a campus in India. At the moment, the government legislation won't allow us to come to India, but maybe in 10 years' time that's possible, and we can have a campus in Delhi around Murdoch University. Okay? Thanks.